Number 10. Amber Heard. According to the internet, Amber Heard is not only an actress, but she's also a humanitarian and a social activist. Okay, sure. She got her big film break starring in the horror movie All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, but I was genuinely shocked when I saw what movies she's also been in. Did you guys know that she was 406 in the movie Zombieland? And she was Seth Rogen's love interest in Pineapple Express. Oh, and she's the reason that Aquaman 2 is gonna be delayed. Since 2016, Amber Heard and her ex-husband Johnny Depp have been throwing accusations at each other left and right. They were accusing each other of domestic altercations that may or may not have taken place during their brief one-year marriage. Those accusations were confirmed during their very public trial in which Depp was suing Amber for defamation over a 2018 op-ed for the Washington Post. While the trial brought to light some disturbing truths on both sides, the biggest shock came when after several days of interviews, witness statements, and mountains of paperwork, a jury found that Amber's statements were in fact false and granted Depp the defamation. Amber had filed a countersuit, which she also kinda technically won, but it was way less than what Johnny got. Sound files, video footage, and witnesses gave concrete evidence that Amber was the instigator in many of their disputes and that she was subsequently fired from any and all future projects. Number 9. Ellen DeGeneres. In her first on-air appearance since announcing the end of her eponymous daytime talk show, Ellen DeGeneres called the press cycle around allegations of toxicity at her workplace orchestrated and misogynistic. The announcement that her show would be cancelled came after months of receiving negative press following a BuzzFeed article reporting former employees alleging the environment was racially insensitive, filled with harassment and, hey, bullying too. Ellen maintained in interviews that these allegations were not the reason that she would be leaving the show, simply claiming that the program was no longer challenging for her. While the BuzzFeed report did not allege toxic behavior by Ellen herself, several former staff members claimed the whole "Be Kind" motto was not genuine at all, which was reflected in a Twitter thread published by comedian Kevin T. Porter. He asked people to send in their horror stories about the host's rudeness over the years and received over 2,000 replies. Warner Brothers opened an investigation and included that there were some flaws in the day-to-day management of the studio. Following this, Ellen appeared on the 18th season premiere of her show in 2020 and made an on-air apology to viewers, claiming responsibility, later stating that there was no way that she could know the true nature of the work environment due to the 255 employees that worked for her across multiple buildings. Ever heard of a complaint box? Number 8. Katy Perry collects hair. The singer was once asked during an interview a very simple and cute question of, hey, what's in your purse? And fans perhaps hoped that she would respond with like a bottle of Killer Queen, which was her, cologne, or cupcake crumbs, but Katy Perry answered with, oh, it's just a big empty bag, and then went on to describe what used to be in it. You see, she claimed that while in attendance at her first Grammy Awards ceremony that she got to share a dressing room with Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift. Now, with all that excitement, you'd think she'd ask for a picture, right? Yeah, no, she asked them for a lock of each of their hair, which Katy found, quote, like totally awesome, but hey, that's weird because ugh. She then elaborated that she would tie little bows to each of them and like put them in her purse. This sounds so made up, like how could that be true? No, Miley and Taylor actually backed that story up online, and Perry claims to this day that Miley Cyrus is the most famous person in her purse and in her contact books. Nice. Number 7. Jussie Smollett. In 2019, American actor Jussie Smollett, best known for his role in the Mighty Ducks movies and his time as Jamal Leon on the show Empire, approached the Chicago Police Department to report a hate crime. According to himself, 2 unknown individuals appeared from the shadows and began harassing Jussie. They flung racial and homophobic slurs at Smollett, while one attacker poured a flammable substance on him, and the other began to insert his head into some rope. News of this altercation made headlines in the following days, as it was announced that an investigation would be made to help piece together what exactly happened. Well, too bad for Jussie, the Chicago PD are pretty good at their jobs. They quickly found that the 2 strangers in question were 2 Nigerian brothers named Abimbola and Olambinjo, who had worked as extras on the set of Empire. They raided the brothers' home and found documents confirming the pair had been paid $3,500 each to stage the event. They had video footage of the brothers purchasing the masks, gloves, and hats that are seen in the altercation footage. They also found receipts for the liquid and rope used during the attack. Hey, not a great time to keep track of your finances, guys. In 2019, Smollett was charged with a Class 4 felony for filing a false police report, and on top of that, the Chicago PD was suing him for $130,000 for wasting their time and resources on a fake incident. In the end, he spent 150 days in jail and coughed up a lot of the cash. Number 6. Kylie Cosmetics. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan and is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, a beauty salon company, which would allow the brand previously only available online and in random pop-up stores to be placed on shelves and in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where these products come from. You see, rumors of Kylie's mistreatment for her employees were circulating for weeks after several claims from former employees were made public. It turns out every single thing that they said was true. Many people at the factory that mixed and packaged her makeup and beauty products would report that they were never actually given proper safety equipment that you would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and faces completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines and chemical burns varying in severity. Now, if this isn't bad enough, they were also forced to act as human test subjects for Kylie's new products. This woman was on the cover of Forbes magazine. She was so proud for her company for not testing products on animals, but like, can we agree that using people is like a billion times worse? Number 5. King Charles's affair. The recently crowned King of England has not always played by the rules. In 1981, Prince Charles married Lady Diana, who was 20 years old at the time, leaving a 13-year age gap between them. Behind closed doors, it was speculated that Charles was never actually in love with Diana in the first place, and that was later proven to be true. While things seemed pleasant on the outside, behind the scenes, Charles was secretly meeting up and having an affair with his ex-girlfriend Camilla Bowles. The alleged relationship was written about in the 1992 Diana, Her True Story, but in 1994, Charles actually confirmed the allegations in a documentary, because that's the perfect place to do it. The couple filed for a divorce in 1996, and Diana died 1 year later. While the now king made it clear that he had no plans to remarry, he ended up getting remarried in 2005 to, oh hey look, it's Camilla Bowles, shocking. Number 4. Arnold's love child. Action movie star and former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger made headlines in 2011 with the revelation that an old rumor was in fact true. In 1996, Arnold was married to Maria Shriver, a member of the Kennedy family, and they were prepping to welcome their new son Christopher into the world. Arnie didn't prep by building them cribs or baby-proofing the outlets though. Instead, he decided to have an affair with his longtime housekeeper Mildred Baina. Around the same time Christopher was born, so was his illegitimate son, Joseph. Rumors began to rise after his wife noticed the strange and sudden absence of the housekeeper and wondered if there might have been a more sinister reason for her departure. It was later revealed in 2011 that Arnold decided to address those rumors and claim Joseph as his own. Turns out Arnold had given Mildred a large severance package back in the day so she could properly raise their son, leaving on what they call good terms. Well, eventually, after many years of trying and lots of paperwork, Maria and Arnold were divorced, and he's now able to spend more time as a papa. Number 3. Donald Trump's criminal activities. In 2006, Donald Trump was known solely as a wealthy real estate mogul with a hit reality TV show, The Apprentice. He had recently been married to one Melania Trump, and they had a newly born 4-month-old baby. However, reports leaked that Trump was in the midst of an affair with adult film star Stormy Daniels after she filed a civil suit claiming the contract he made her sign to keep quiet was invalid. Daniels claimed that herself and Trump had shared an intimate relationship for roughly a year during his marriage to Melania. These weren't the first allegations of an affair, as Trump has been back and forth in the media since the 1970s, being accused by like 26 women of misconduct. While these rumors never held any merit at first, the truth was finally set free. After being the most chaotic president in recent history, it was announced in March that Trump was going to be arrested on 34 separate violations of a New York law against falsifying business documents to conceal another crime. Over the years, he was essentially taking company money and using it to pay off anyone who may have been a threat to him, both personally or politically. Thanks for the free money, Donnie. Number 2. Paula Deen. Paula Deen is basically Martha Stewart just from the South. Paula opened her first restaurant in a Best Western lodge in Savannah and called it The Lady in 1991. She went on to own and operate several of her own restaurants, as well as hosting a very popular cooking show called Paula's Home Cookin'. Paula shared her recipes for delicious home-cooked meals and took the cooking world by storm, until 2013 when it was revealed that maybe Paula shouldn't be allowed to have a phone. Rumors had been circulating of a more sinister persona buried beneath the warm, sweet Southern lady we saw on TV, and it turned out those rumors were confirmed by Paula herself. Paula admitted to using racial slurs on her social media posts in the past. She would post these rants and aggressive comments, and then she would just immediately delete them to avoid being blasted in the media. Well, hey, the internet's forever, Paula, and Paula's cooking show got cancelled. It's all good though. She started another show on the very successful streaming device Roku. So popular, just so popular. Number 1, Michael Richards. Michael Richards played one of the most famous sitcom characters of all time on one of the most famous sitcoms of all time. He played Cosmo Kramer on the show Seinfeld for 9 years, and in that time made fans laugh and cry with his hilarious antics and wild lifestyle. Unfortunately, those laughs and cries turned to boos and anger. In 2006, Michael made an appearance at the Laugh Factory in California, where he went on a racially fueled tirade after responding to a heckler in the audience. Rumors of his bias had been circulating for a few years, as Richard wasn't a stranger to using choice words and phrases in his stand-up acts that were considered offensive and racist. Since the reveal of his true behavior, Richards has received an enormous amount of backlash and has given up comedy for good. He was also brought on as a guest on Jerry Seinfeld's popular show Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee and addressed the situation with Seinfeld. Richards seemed very apologetic, and he understood that what he said and did was wrong. But hey man, the words that he spoke that night still circulate the internet to this day. So sorry, Michael.
So starting off, we have Taylor Swift doesn't have a belly button. Yep, this is a weird one, I will admit. Now, a rumor started growing over the years that Taylor Swift didn't have a belly button, as Taylor made a point early on in her career that she didn't want to show off her belly button, even saying in an interview, "I don't like showing my belly button. When you start showing your belly button, then you're really committing to the midriff thing. I only partially commit to the midriff thing. You're only seeing lower rib cage. I don't want people to know if I have one or not." So, of course, people ran with the "or not" part and accused her of not having a belly button. Now, they became convinced that her lack of a belly button was why she worked so adamantly to not show it. However, while she was on vacation in Hawaii in 2015, her security noticed some paparazzi with a long lens parked in a boat off the beach. They were trying to get that infamous belly button shot. So Taylor beat them to the punch by posting her own photo of herself, revealing her belly button. Now Then there's Sydney Sweeney and Glen Powell having an affair. In 2023, Sydney Sweeney and Glen Powell released their film Anyone But You, but it had been rumored that the co-stars had so much chemistry that people speculated that they had an affair on set. Now, the rumors intensified when Glen reportedly broke up with his girlfriend, Gigi Paris. That November, Glen told Men's Health, "When all that stuff happened, publicly, it felt disorienting and unfair, but what I'm realizing is that it's just a part of this gig now." Now, when the interviewer brought up the affair, Glen inserted a correction: alleged affair. Now, similarly, a month later, Sydney told Glamour UK, "It was really hard on Glen, which made me sad because otherwise it was such a beautiful experience for the both of us. I care for him so much. Also, I've never really shared that much about my relationship with Jonathan Davino, so the press loves to create drama and stories," she added. Moving on to Beyonce faking her first pregnancy. Now, Beyonce shocked the world in 2011 while performing at the VMAs. While singing her song Love on Top, she revealed that she was pregnant with her and Jay-Z's first child. It was then said that Beyonce and the rapper dropped an estimated $1.3 million entire fourth floor of a Manhattan hospital so they could have a little privacy during the birth of Blue Ivy. But there were also rumors that she actually wasn't pregnant at all, either having a baby with a surrogate or staging an elaborate ruse so they could claim Jay-Z's illegitimate child as their own. Now, people went as far as saying that she was wearing a fake bump and pieced together footage proving it. Now, Beyonce actually addressed this, calling the rumors ridiculous and over the top. Even the hospital denied that the couple rented out an entire floor, claiming in an official statement that they were housed in an executive suite at the hospital and is being billed the standard rate. Now we have Marisa Tomei didn't win an Oscar. Marisa Tomei was a controversial choice for an Oscar nomination. Her role in My Cousin Vinny was good, but people didn't think that she deserved the award. Now, when Jack Palance gave her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, some suspected that he made a mistake, possibly reading out the wrong name because he got confused or couldn't make out the fine print. So not long after she unexpectedly claimed the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, rumors began to circulate that it was all a mistake. Now, the real winner was supposed to have been Vanessa Redgrave, but presenter Jack had called out the wrong name because he was unable to read the printing on the card inside the envelope, he became confused, or he was too drunk or stoned to announce the winner properly. It was then said that nobody corrected him, but this rumor is just mean and hurtful. But as we've seen in the past now, if there is a mistake, the Oscars will correct it. In 2017, Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty presented the nominees for Best Picture at the Oscars, and on stage, Warren was given the task of opening the envelope that was supposed to contain the winner. Later, Warren would say it contained the name of a winner, but not the winner. Now, the pair mistakenly announced La La Land as the Best Picture, winning over Moonlight. Now, in photos, it appeared that the actors were holding an envelope that read Actress in a Leading Role, an award that went to La La Land's Emma Stone just moments before, which caused the confusion. Now, the cast of La La Land went up on the stage to accept their award, but there was commotion backstage. Finally, producer Jordan Horowitz went on stage and said, "I'm sorry, there's a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture. This is not a joke," he said, gesturing to the Moonlight cast and producers and inviting them on stage. So, if that was the case with Marisa, they would have fixed it. Next is Avril Lavigne was replaced. Ever heard of Melissa? Well, it's a rumor that people online started about Avril Lavigne. Fans created the rumor that the real Avril Lavigne died back in 2003, and a look-alike named Melissa was brought in to replace her. Now, they claim that the singer's nose, style, and even height have changed, giving fuel to her secret identity. Now, Avril dispelled these rumors in 2018, saying, "Some people think I'm not the real me, which is so weird. Why would they even think that?" Now, she later said that she thinks people made up the story because people are just bored and need something to talk about. "Isn't that weird? It's so dumb," she said at the time. And on the other hand, people are like, "Oh my god, she died." So no, people, Avril is Avril, but I do fear that that is something that Melissa would say, so who knows. On to Lea Michele can't read. Now, this is my favorite rumor ever, and I'm not gonna lie, I do believe it. Now, internet users have pages of evidence that Lea Michele can't read. They said that she never learned to read because she started working young, as she was 8 when she made her debut on Broadway, to her only memorizing her lines on Glee from someone else reading them. Now, Lea has ignored these rumors for the most part, other than an odd remark, like in 2018 when she tweeted to a fan, "Loved reading this tweet and wanted to write you back," literally laughing out loud at this. Love you. But she recently poked fun at the matter on TikTok by lip-syncing to a clip of Kim Kardashian on a phone call. She asked, "How is it?" She responds, "It's amazing," before getting emotional and saying, "But wait, can you talk for a sec?" Now, the text on Lea's video reads, "Calling Jonathan to read me the comments on my first TikTok." Now, at least she can see the funny side to all of this. I don't know though, I'm still convinced that she can't read. Then there's Harry Styles and Obama were in a relationship. Yeah, if you haven't heard this rumor, get ready because it's hilarious. Now, the Hoax National Examiner cover once featured Obama with a line of text that read, "Obama had this man," and an arrow that pointed to the One Direction member, Harry Styles. Now, Harry addressed the rumor at the BBC Music Awards after admitting that he didn't know of it at first. "I honestly have no idea what you're talking about," he said to Yahoo UK, before adding, "I've heard some good ones in my time, but that's interesting." Now we have Stevie Wonder isn't blind. Now, people have believed that Stevie Wonder isn't actually blind for a while now. The rumor is a long-standing theory that has been circulating for several decades. Now, despite the fact that Stevie was born prematurely and as a result lost his eyesight, many people have claimed over the years that he has faked blindness as a way to enhance his musical career. Now, proof includes where people believe Wonder was caught peeking or had an unusually good sense of spatial awareness as evidence of his supposed deception. However, these claims have been debunked by those closest to Stevie, including friends, family, and associates, who all have attested to his genuine blindness. Now, Stevie himself has publicly addressed the rumors on numerous occasions, stating that he lost his sight as a result of a congenital condition and that he's never been able to see. Next up is Steven Spielberg directed Poltergeist. Now, the rumor that Steven Spielberg directed Poltergeist, the 1982 supernatural horror film, has been discussed for several years. The film was actually directed by Tobe Hooper, who also directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, with Spielberg Spielberg serving as the producer. Now, despite that fact, the theory suggests that Spielberg really directed the film and that Hooper was given credit for publicity purposes only. Now, the rumor is based on the idea that Spielberg's distinctive style is present in the film and that the film's success is largely due to his involvement. However, this theory has been debunked by both Hooper and Spielberg, who have stated that Hooper was the sole director of Poltergeist. The film's crew and cast have also stated that Hooper was the director of the film and that Spielberg's involvement was limited to the role of producer. Nevertheless, the rumors about Spielberg's supposed involvement as the director of Poltergeist continues to spread online and remain a topic of discussion. And finally, there's Jennifer Lawrence disrespecting her crews. While filming American Hustle, Jennifer Lawrence allegedly forced the wardrobe department to make duplicates of her character's costumes because she constantly stained them with Cool Ranch Dorito dust. Now, appearing on Hot Ones in 2023, Jennifer said, "It was Cheeto dust, it was only one costume, it was a white dress, and I feel really bad. I actually didn't know until it came out and that it was very disrespectful to the costume department, but it was an accident. I wasn't like, F you guys." I think also getting the second dress, it just encouraged me. I was like, oh, they must have a million of these. It was a domino effect. Now, the rumor likely stemmed from this 2014 interview when costume designer Michael Wilkinson told Vanity Fair that the wardrobe department had already made 4 versions of her character's white dress because the script originally called for her to spill champagne all over it. He said, "And I'm kind of glad we did because Jennifer Lawrence is a very, let's say, raw and intuitive young lady, and she's not against eating Doritos and snack food in her costumes. So we were glad we had a couple backups." Now, additionally, the dresses were fairly inexpensive to create.
Number 10. Katy Perry collects hair. The singer was once asked during an interview a very simple and cute question of, "What's in your purse?" And fans perhaps hoped that she would respond with a bottle of Killer Queen or a cupcake crumb. But Katy Perry answered, "It's just a big empty bag." But she went on to describe what used to be in the purse. She claimed that while in attendance at her first Grammy Awards ceremony, she got to share a dressing room with Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift. Now, with all that excitement, you'd think she'd ask for a picture or something, right? No, she asked them for a lock of each of their hairs, which Katy found, quote, "totally awesome." Well, her definition of the word awesome must be very different from ours, because this sounds just creepy as all heck. She then elaborated that she would tie little bows to each of them and put them in her purse. Now, this sounds so made up, how could it be true? Well, Miley and Taylor actually backed up this story online, and Perry claims to this day that Miley Cyrus is both the most famous person in her purse and in her contacts. Oh, hey, Katie, I think you dropped something. Number 9. Ellen mistreats employees. In her first on-air appearance since announcing the end of her eponymous daytime talk show, Ellen DeGeneres called the press cycle around allegations of toxicity at her workplace orchestrated and misogynistic. The announcement that her show would be cancelled came after months of receiving negative press following a BuzzFeed article reporting former employees alleging that the environment was racially insensitive, filled with harassment and bullying. Ellen maintained in interviews that these allegations were not the reason that she would be leaving the show, simply claiming that the program was no longer challenging for her. While the BuzzFeed report did not allege toxic behavior by Ellen herself, several former staff members claimed that the whole "be kind" motto she had was not genuine at all, which was reflected in a Twitter thread published by comedian Kevin T. Porter. He asked people to send in their horror stories about the host's rudeness over the years, and he received over 2,000 replies. Warner Brothers opened an investigation and concluded that there were some flaws in the day-to-day management at the studio. Following this, Ellen appeared on the 18th season premiere of her show in 2020 and made an on-air apology to viewers, claiming responsibility, later stating that there was no way she could know the true nature of the work environment due to the 255 employees that worked for her across multiple buildings. Hey, ever heard of like a complaint box? Number 8. Prince Charles's affair. He's now the King of England, but he's not always played by the rules. You see, in 1981, Prince Charles, at the time, married Lady Diana, who was 20 years old at the time, leaving a 13-year age gap between them. Behind closed doors, it was speculated that Charles was never in love with Diana in the first place, and it was later proven to be true. While on the outside things seemed pleasant, behind the scenes, Charles was secretly meeting up and having an affair with his ex-girlfriend, Camilla Bowles. The alleged relationship was written about in the 1992 Diana Her True Story book, but in 1994, Charles confirmed the allegations in a documentary, because that's a great place to do that. The couple filed for a divorce in 1996, and Diana died 1 year later. While the now king made it clear that he had no plans to remarry, he ended up getting remarried in 2005 to, oh hey, look, it's Camilla Bowles. Shocking. Number 7. Jonathan Majors charges. Jonathan Majors may be familiar to those of you who are fans of the MCU as Kang the Conqueror, the newest big bad addition to the never-ending roster of villains in Marvel's Rogue Gallery. Unfortunately, it looks like he may end up getting the CGI eraser treatment due to an incident in March of this year. Majors was arrested on misdemeanor charges of and following a domestic dispute with his girlfriend. These charges, however, would only be the first domino to fall, as rumors began circulating about similar instances in the past, with many people in both the Yale community, where he went to school, and the New York theater scene, where he studied and practiced performing, claiming Majors was well known for being emotionally violent and professionally abusive, but never physically violent. While Majors is currently in a battle to prove his innocence, claiming the situation to have been blown out of proportions, a series of texts uncovered by his lawyer seemingly proved that there was some merit to the incident. They showed Majors' girlfriend had passed out during the incident and as such had to be hospitalized, where she was reported to have several bruises and scratch marks throughout her entire body. This meant that the charges would stick, and Majors is definitely on his way to the bottomless pit of cancelled celebrities. Number 6. Caitlyn Jenner's transition. Now, this one isn't disturbing because of Caitlyn, it's because of how many people felt that her business needed to be a part of their lives. Let people live, you jerks. Rumors had been circulating of Caitlyn's transition since the early 1970s. The former Olympian had publicly denied these rumors for years, with many family members and friends even backing her story up time and time again. But in 2015, the rumors had begun surfacing again due to Jenner being spotted leaving a doctor's office by a tabloid journalist, supposedly after just receiving estrogen treatments. Jenner had also recently undergone reconstructive surgery, which seemed to only add more fuel to the fire. The photo taken and the speculation began to go viral, despite Jenner not being fully out at the time. But a few months later, following these events, she came out as transgender on a highly publicized interview for Diane Sawyer. In the interview, Jenner expressed the gender identity struggles that she has faced through her entire life, having to hide her true self in order to maintain some macho, sporty persona and for fear of not being accepted. Even revealing that her first wife, Christy Scott, was the first to really understand her struggles, and despite being divorced in 1998, she's publicly expressed her well wishes towards Caitlyn and how proud she is for being herself. You go, girl. Number 5. Kevin Spacey. For a long time, Kevin Spacey was well known in the Hollywood community as a quality actor with a steady career and no signs of that stopping. That was until October 2017, when a BuzzFeed article, once again, had been published alleging that Spacey had made unwanted advances towards a then 14 Anthony Rapp. Spacey was quick to deny the speculation, claiming it to be another Hollywood scandal to fill screen time, but since the release of that article, 30 more people have come forward with their own allegations against Spacey, ranging from harassment to attempted assault. Spacey pulled back, fake apologizing for what he says must have been some drunken behavior to Rapp, and he even attempted to shift the subject by coming out of the closet. But the truth had already been set free, and becoming a part of the now famous Me Too movement, Spacey was dropped from all projects he was involved in and has been on Hollywood's blacklist ever since, where he rightfully belongs. Number 4. Tiger Woods' infidelity. Since 1999, the famous golfer had not gone a single year without winning at least one golf major championship. In fact, between the years of 1997 and 2008, he had won 14 majors. He was married to a model, had a beautiful home, and pockets full of cash. What more could you want? Apparently for Tiger, he wanted someone that wasn't his wife. In late November 2009, Tiger was seen by neighbors being chased out of his home by his wife, Ellen Nordegren, with a golf club, before peeling out of his driveway in his Escalade and crashing into a fire hydrant and then a tree. He lied unconscious on the street for 6 minutes before coming to, but by that time, it was already too late. News coverage began speculating that there must have been some case of infidelity with Tiger and his wife. And while rumors had speculated that Tiger had a mistress on the side, it turned out that this guy had a lady in every course, so to speak. He admitted on air to the misdoings and lost his endorsements with Nike, Gatorade, Gillette, and Accenture, before announcing his retirement entirely from golf. Woods reportedly confessed to sleeping with 120 women outside of his marriage, but it wasn't until April 2010 when Ellen decided to split up with Woods for good after she discovered that one of those mistresses was the next door neighbor's daughter who was in college at the time. Go Kapanoo! Number 3. John Lennon's investigation. Lead guitarist of the Beatles and an incredible musician in his own right, John Lennon was always very open on his political views. He was anti-war, anti-establishment, and anti-government, proven by his counterculture-esque songs like Give Peace a Chance. This marked Lennon as a national threat, and his theory on what that meant was a little fishy. Many times in interviews, he would claim that he was under surveillance 24/7 and that he was seeing the same cars driving near his residence essentially every day. Now, while at first this was taken as the ramblings of a hippie under the influence of mind-altering narcotics, this theory was proven to be true in 1972 when the Immigration and Naturalization Service tried to deport him after the FBI had confirmed that Lennon was under investigation for over a year. He was able to fight back and stay in the country to continue his anti-war agenda. See, hippies aren't always crazy. Okay? Number 2. Arnold has a secret kid. Action movie star and former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger made headlines in 2011 with the revelation that an old rumor was in fact true. In 1996, Arnold was married to Maria Shriver, a member of the Kennedy family, and they were prepping to welcome their new son Christopher into the world. Arnie didn't prep by building cribs or baby-proofing the outlets though. Instead, he chose to have an affair with his longtime housekeeper Mildred Baina. Around the same time Christopher was born, so was his illegitimate son, Joseph. Rumors began to rise after his wife noticed the strange and sudden absence of the housekeeper and wondered if there may have been a more sinister reason for her departure. It was later revealed in 2011 though that Arnold decided to address the rumors and claim Joseph as his own. It turns out that Arnold had given Mildred a large severance package so that she could properly raise their son, leaving on what they called good terms. Eventually though, after many years of trying and lots of paperwork, Maria and Arnold were finally divorced and he is now able to spend more time as a father. Mildred is a chef and little Joseph is now all grown up and following in his father's footsteps as both a model and in the movie industry. And number 1. Donald Trump's criminal activities. In 2006, Donald Trump was known solely as a wealthy real estate mogul with a hit reality show called The Apprentice. He had recently been married to Melania Trump and he had a newly born 4-month-old baby. However, reports leaked that Trump was in the midst of an affair with adult film star Stormy Daniels after she filed a civil suit claiming that the contract he made her sign to keep quiet was invalid. Daniels claimed that herself and Trump had shared a very intimate relationship for roughly a year during his marriage to Melania. These weren't the first allegations of an affair, as Trump has been back and forth in the media since the 1970s, being accused by 26 women of harassment or misconduct. While these rumors never held any merit at first, the truth was finally set free. After being the most chaotic president in recent history, it was announced in March that Trump was being arrested on 34 separate violations of a New York law against falsifying business documents to conceal another crime. Basically, over the years, he was essentially taking company money and using it to pay off anyone who might have been a threat to him, both personally and politically. Well hey, thanks for the free money, Donnie. We'll see you never.
First on our list is Brendan Fraser. Fraser's acting career has been revitalized in recent years, but there is a very troubling reason why he was absent from the big screen for so long. Now, back in the late 1990s and early 2000s, Fraser was a well-known face in Hollywood who was starring in many hit movies and was the frontman for the Mummy series. But after 2003, things took a very different turn for him. Fraser eventually branched out into TV shows and left the big screen behind for reasons that most people couldn't understand. That is until he made the shocking revelation in 2014 that he was the victim of a very inappropriate act by the president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, Phil Burke, back in 2003. Burke initially stated the story was a lie, and it sounds like various threats were issued against the actor for speaking out against Burke. This all resulted with Fraser being blacklisted from Hollywood for many years simply for exposing these disgusting acts. It wasn't until his triumphant return in 2022's The Whale that he was able to return to Hollywood and build up his confidence once again. His shocking revelations were a sad reminder of the terrible acts that go on behind closed doors in Hollywood and the great lengths that people will go through just to hide them. After that, we have Jennette McCurdy. The famous childhood actress who most of us remember as Sam from iCarly recently revealed that she never wanted to be an actress in the first place and only pursued it because her mother forced her to. In McCurdy's own memoir, she stated that her mother forced her to be an actor and would regularly put her on strict diets that caused eating disorders. Anytime McCurdy would mention that she didn't want to be an actress anymore, her mother would lash out and become hysterical and force McCurdy to stay in the entertainment business. Even when McCurdy became famous and figured her mom would finally be happy for her, it only seemed to make her mother jealous. When her mother finally passed away due to illness, McCurdy claimed that she was happy she could finally do what she wanted to do in life. McCurdy has stated on numerous occasions that she wants to be a fiction writer, and after the success of her own personal memoir, she signed a 7-figure deal with Penguin Random House to publish 2 of her own books. This was a harrowing reminder of some of the pressures facing child actors and how negative influences can seriously take a toll on them. Next up is Charles Harrelson. The father of Woody Harrelson did not live the same kind of life as his son Woody. We all know that Woody Harrelson is a great actor who has enjoyed a very long career in Hollywood, but his father had a very different kind of job in the entertainment industry. While it might have been kept a secret many years ago, various insiders managed to uncover that Woody Harrelson's father Charles was a hitman for 20th Century Fox. While that wasn't his full-time employer, it sounds like he had various tie-ins with other organized crime members who were working within Hollywood. Charles Harrelson was eliminating people left, right, and center, would pretty much do anything if someone waved some money in front of him. His victims included all sorts of people around the United States, but his career in organized crime came to a screeching halt in 1979. That is when he was tasked with taking out US District Judge John H. Wood Jr. While he ended up succeeding in his mission, he was not able to avoid capture. Charles Harrelson spent the rest of his life in prison while his son ended up turning into a tremendous Hollywood actor. It is a very good thing that Woody never followed in his own father's footsteps. After that, we have the cast of Glee vs. Lea Michele. When all of your co-stars turn on you and reveal what kind of a person you are behind closed doors, it's never going to end well. Glee was a show that captured the hearts of many across the world, but when the cameras weren't rolling, it was an incredibly tense affair. Samantha Ware absolutely ripped into Michele on Twitter, claiming her co-star made the working environment a living hell. She also claimed that Michele threatened to defecate in her wig at any given opportunity. Now, this obviously kickstarted some massive backlash against Lea Michele, who lost brand sponsorships, and Ware wasn't the only person who had something to say about the Glee co-star. Heather Morris also stated that Michele was incredibly unpleasant to work with, and other Glee co-stars were even labeling her as a complete and total racist. Even Matthew Morrison, who played Mr. Schuester on the show, sort of alluded to the fact that Lea was incredibly difficult for him to work with as well. He didn't get into many details when asked about her on FUBAR Radio, but he did say you want to be a pleasant person to be around, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Michele tried to save face by issuing public apologies, but this serves as a reminder to every Hollywood actor to treat your co-stars with respect. Up next is Eddie Mannix. He might not be a celebrity in the traditional sense, but he played an important role in ensuring that real superstars didn't lose their status. See, way back in the golden era of Hollywood, many celebrities were still carrying a ton of dark secrets that they didn't want to come to light. In modern times, people are generally exposed for their terrible antics on social media or on TV, but celebrities back in the day just found ways to make things disappear. But when things were too tricky and they couldn't handle it on their own, they would turn to the help of a fixer. A fixer is exactly what the name sounds like. They would clean up a celebrity's mess by simply making all of their problems go away. Eddie Mannix is one of the most well-known fixers of his era, and he assisted many big-name celebrities in covering up their darkest secrets. Now, there are many ways he could have made things disappear. We can only imagine what kind of legal activity you have to be involved with to do this. Fixers were just another reminder that Hollywood was never too far away from the world of organized crime. There's only proof that some people could buy their way out of pretty much anything back in the day. Next on our list is Viola Davis. Viola Davis called out her co-star Jared Leto for being too much like the Joker. Sometimes actors can get completely carried away in their own work. Now, obviously, it's good for an actor to stay in character so they don't lose their touch, but it sounds like Leto took things way too far. His co-star Viola Davis claimed that Leto would stay in character the whole time they were filming, and he would continue his character's psychopathic tendencies off set. The catalyst in the strange behavior is when Jared Leto apparently sent a box of bullets to Viola Davis. This seemed like much more than just a joke to Davis, to the point where she was actually worried for her own safety. She had no idea if there were any sort of subliminal messages behind the strange package. She even claimed that she nearly pulled out her pepper spray after receiving the disturbing gift. Viola went on to clarify that she was incredibly tough and even got into a few fights when she was younger. This strange moment really affected her in a deep and dark way. There have been multiple disturbing cases of actors taking their roles too far, but this also isn't the first strange thing that Jared Leto has ever done in his own life. Aside from his outlandish outfits, scaling the Empire State Building to promote his band, and supposedly running a cult, this honestly might not have been the weirdest thing that Jared Leto's ever done. Up next we have Jussie Smollett. This one was a literal self-inflicted wound that completely backfired on Smollett. The American actor has been a mainstay in Hollywood since the early 1990s, but a viral incident that took place in 2019 resulted in him being blacklisted from Hollywood. On January 29, 2019, Smollett filed a report with the Chicago Police Department and claimed that he was the victim of a violent hate crime. Now, in the report, Smollett stated that he was ambushed by two men who yelled racist and homophobic slurs before pouring bleach on him and shouting, "This is MAGA country." After a lengthy investigation took place, however, it was revealed that the entire attack was staged, and the two men who supposedly attacked Smollett were two brothers who worked as extras on the show Empire, in which Smollett was a cast member. The disgraced actor was sentenced to 150 days in county jail and was sued by the city of Chicago for $130,000 for the cost of the investigation. This one shed light on some of the shady activities that go on in Hollywood, which could have serious impacts on major political issues. After that, we have Lea Michele. Michele went into a cult and came out of it a changed person, but it probably wasn't the change that the cult was hoping for. Lea Michele was one of the first Hollywood celebrities to enter the Church of Scientology and spent many years in the strange cult before she had a change of heart. She had initially pledged her allegiance to L. Ron Hubbard's bizarre religion before realizing that it wasn't all what it seemed like. Michele eventually quit the church and turned to the cameras to expose all the dark secrets behind Scientology. Now, to be fair, it was actually Michele's parents who forced her to join the church when she was just 9 years old, but she decided to quit for good in 2013. From there, she created her own docuseries, Scientology in the Aftermath, and exposed some of the scary scenarios that go on behind closed doors. She claimed that the church was performing psychological torture on its members and using surveillance to follow their every move. She also claimed that the church, which has various connections to other high-profile celebrities in Hollywood, would threaten anybody who was considering leaving. It's easy to see why many people consider this religion to be more of a cult than anything else. Michele's expose shed a light on all of their shady dealings. Up next is Selma Blair. Yet another celebrity who called out their own co-star. This time it was none other than Charlie Sheen who was taking the heat. While Sheen was involved in plenty of controversies over the years that have earned him more than a few enemies, he ended up finding himself in yet another feud after starring in the sitcom Anger Management. Apparently Sheen and his co-star Selma Blair did not see eye to eye on many topics, and this led to a ton of on-set altercations. While Blair was obviously not afraid to voice her displeasure with her co-star, it proved to be a pretty risky move for her time as an actress on the show. In addition to being the show's lead actor, Sheen was also one of the series' producers, which meant that he held a lot of power over his co-star. After various on-set fights and arguments between the two actors, it was announced that Blair's time on the series was finished and she would not be returning. It was later revealed, however, that Blair had an issue with Sheen's work ethic and was not shy about letting him know. But instead of trying to work things out or actually improve on his own performance, Sheen sent a flurry of angry text messages to Blair letting her know that she was fired and would never be welcomed back. And finally, we have Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. This one was a double-edged sword that proved that Hollywood relationships can be very toxic and downright terrifying. We all remember the crazy trial that took the world by storm in 2022. Heard was working her way up the ladder in Hollywood and was earning herself roles in hit movies such as The Rum Diary and Aquaman. However, it was altercations with her now ex-husband Johnny Depp that earned her a lot of attention for all the wrong reasons. While there were numerous counts of abuse against Depp throughout their marriage, the incidents didn't come to light until Heard went to trial and her abusive actions towards Depp were made public to the world. While Depp was clearly not perfect himself by any means, Heard only made things worse for herself as the trial went on. It was eventually proven through phone recordings that she would constantly abuse her ex-husband after she initially denied all allegations against her. In the end, however, Heard was found guilty in the highly publicized trial, lost many jobs as a result of the crazy feud with her ex-husband.
At number 10, Kanye West. Most people see Kanye West as a little too extra. He's caused scandals like his VMA interruption with Taylor Swift, his comments about George W. Bush, as well as many other instances that have just rubbed people the wrong way. To add to that, he's reportedly very hard to work with. During filming of Anchorman 2, Kanye came on set for a brief appearance in the film, and though he played a small part, he left a big impression on the cast and crew, and it wasn't positive. Apparently, after Kanye wrapped on set, he refused to leave. He could have just gone home after he finished his scenes, but he decided to stick around. That's fine if you want to stay and watch other people's performances, but that's not exactly what Kanye did. Instead, he hung around set blasting music so loudly that it disrupted filming. People tried to get him to just leave, but he wouldn't. I think it's safe to say that if a third Anchorman movie were to happen, Kanye just would not be welcomed back. At number 9, Lea Michele. Lea Michele was exposed in 2020 for her Hollywood mean streak and for her terrible on-set behavior. This all came out following a tweet from former Glee co-star Samantha Ware, where she let the world know how horrible it was to work with Lea. The actress is now described as, quote, callous, rude, mean, and even a diva. But following Samantha's exposure of the Broadway star, other people have come forward with their own testimonies regarding Lea and her mean streak. There have been stories of Lea's microaggressions, but also stories of her spitting in craft service food that she doesn't like, refusing to work with people because they didn't know her middle name, requesting reshoots because she didn't like her costume, disrespecting other castmates, and having crew members apologize on her behalf, and so many other frustrating tidbits that just really show how rude and entitled she's been known to be. No one wants to work with her after learning about how much of a nightmare she can be on set. Before we carry on talking about the celebrities who are just the worst people to work with on set, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Julia Roberts. Even though Julia Roberts seems like a nice person, it turns out that she's a nightmare on set. Ironically, she's almost always cast as nice and endearing characters, but there's seemingly much more to Julia than meets the eye. Apparently, she's known to have a pretty bad attitude on set, which can make working with her an unpleasant experience. In 1991, on the set of the Peter Pan film Hook by Steven Spielberg, Julia earned the on-set nickname Tinkerhell as a play on her character Tinkerbell. She earned this moniker based on the production staff's perception of the actress. Apparently, during filming, she would constantly show up to set late, and even when she was on set, she would lock herself in her trailer for hours on end. She also reportedly treated people badly, and she would never apologize for her mean actions or behavior. Julia was truly the opposite of the pixie she was playing. At number 7, Mike Myers. Does anyone else remember the Cat in the Hat live action film from 2003 starring Mike Myers? I certainly do. It was very cringy, but in a good way, since I was a kid back then and I found everything unbelievably hilarious. I enjoyed that movie as a kid, but one person who didn't enjoy it was the Cat in the Hat himself, Mike Myers. After the success of Austin Powers, Mike was set to bump up his comedy and star in a production based on one of his old characters. But before that was all carried out, the actor and the studio got into some debates, and there was legal trouble. It was all just unnecessary drama. Well, they both ended up reaching an agreement, and it obligated Mike to star in the Cat in the Hat movie. He never wanted to sign up for that, and he really made it known how badly he didn't want to be there. According to people who worked with him on set, during filming of the Cat in the Hat, Mike was very rude and dismissive, and he refused to talk to anyone. He became a hermit and a diva apparently, and this whole experience and subsequent film were all so bad that Dr. Seuss's widow said that she would never allow Hollywood to make another movie based on one of Seuss's books again. At number 6, Emma Roberts. Emma Roberts has had quite a few on-set feuds with co-stars. She's had drama with Gabrielle Sidibe, Ariana Grande, and Evan Peters, but the biggest feud that she's had was with Lea Michele on the set of Scream Queens. According to sources, Emma Roberts and Lea Michele had one strong attribute in common, and that was the fact that they were both divas, so while they were working together, they butt heads with each other quite often. Apparently, their fighting got so bad while filming, actress Jamie Lee Curtis had to step in and mediate the hostile situation between Emma and Lea because she was so fed up with their constant bickering while they were trying to work. It was also reported that the actresses would constantly have mean girl moments, making rude and catty comments towards each other almost daily. Rumors of this feuding between them were pretty common in entertainment news while Scream Queens was still in production, showing that things never really died down between the two actresses. It seemed like Emma just caused a heck of a lot of drama with a lot of people on set. At number 5, Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf has really been going through it in Hollywood. He kind of has a bad reputation now because of the conflicts that he's been in, the latest of which got him fired from a movie. Because of his bad attitude and clashes on set, the actor was fired by Olivia Wilde from the upcoming film Don't Worry Darling. It was announced in late fall of 2020 that Harry Styles would be replacing Shia in the film, and now we know that it was due to Shia's alleged bad behavior, as people have cited that the actor was, quote, not an easy guy to work with. It was alleged that there was some kind of conflict between him and Olivia Wilde as well, and the fact that other cast and crew members didn't like working with him, Shia was let go. Getting fired is always a negative thing, but in Hollywood, when a lot of your work involves other relationships with other actors and having connections, having a bad experience that was enough to get you fired can ultimately burn that bridge and result in you having less work. At number 4, Ben Stiller. A lot of people think of Ben Stiller as this super funny guy in Hollywood, but just because someone seems great in the public eye doesn't mean that's how they really are behind closed doors. It seems as though Ben Stiller is a nightmare in disguise because he's a tough guy to work with and he causes a lot of trouble on set. People who know or have worked with Ben in the past have exposed some of his bad behavior on set, and it's kind of shocking. controlling. According to those who worked with him on the set of the film Tropic Thunder, he was very controlling and mean to just about everyone there. He even reportedly had a meltdown on set when someone brought him his Diet Coke and it didn't have exactly 2 ice cubes in it. He even had someone fired because they didn't put enough sugar in his coffee. On top of that, Ben even forced his assistant to stand out in the parking lot in his designated parking space, even though it already had a sign saying that it was reserved. And to make matters even more hectic, Ben also freaked out on a female assistant he had, going so far as to refuse to come back to set until she was replaced by a male assistant. If all of this madness happened on just one film set, who knows what other shenanigans have gone on elsewhere with him. At number 3, Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase is known for being in National Lampoon and the show Community, but is also known around Hollywood as being kind of a jerk and starting drama with the people that he works with. There are a bunch of articles, books, and interviews of people talking about their experiences with the actor and how mean he can be. There are even stories in the book Live from New York that detail the times Chase has been mean to staff, writers, interns, and other hosts. Will Ferrell and Bill Murray are among those who have taken a disliking to Chase because of the way that he's treated others. Will Ferrell has said that he doesn't like Chevy because of the way that he treats some female staff members, and Bill Murray and Chevy Chase even got into a brawl backstage of SNL back in the day, where they said some pretty hurtful things to each other because they were kind of comedy rivals on the show. Chevy just doesn't get along with everyone, and he said it's because his fame went to his head, but something tells me that's not the only reason why he starts drama. At number 2, Bill Murray. Bill Murray already has a pretty bad reputation in Hollywood for his poor on-set behavior, so it's no surprise to me to find out that he's had some serious drama with one of his castmates on the set of Charlie's Angels. While filming the movie, Bill Murray was said to have antagonized actress Lucy Liu. When watching the film, you'd think that they were all good friends and on good terms, but in reality, that was quite the opposite. The film set was sort of a hostile environment that caused Bill to take a disliking towards Lucy. Turns out Bill would insult Lucy's talent and acting ability, and on one occasion even said, quote, "I get why you're here, you've got talent, but what in the hell are you doing here? You can't act." Apparently the harassment and bullying got so bad at one point that Lucy tried throwing punches at Bill during one scene because his insults got so bad. This antagonizing went on for the entire duration of the production, and Bill kept on berating Lucy about her presence on set and calling her unprofessional as well. This drama was just so unnecessary. And finally, at number 1, Sharon Osbourne. Talk show host Sharon Osbourne faced a lot of backlash last year after making comments about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Sharon and her former co-host Cheryl Underwood got into a pretty heated argument surrounding Piers Morgan's remarks on Meghan Markle. During this feud, Sharon backed up Pierce's comments about Meghan Markle's mental health, and this really frustrated a lot of people because many felt as though what was being said was going a little too far. As a result of the remarks that Sharon made, she was called a racist, and a number of other accusations came out about how she's used various slurs in the past when talking about her other co-hosts on the show. As a result of this, the network that they worked for launched an internal investigation to look into the allegations against Sharon, and that ended with Sharon being let go from the show.